6 days ago, I came in contact with something that would serve as an eye opener for me. I was in a meeting, more like a leadership event, and a time came that the facilitators asked a question. Of course, I answered, but I had a neighbor who is a young, beautiful lady who wanted to give her the microphone so she could answer a couple questions, share some things. She gently bowed her face down. She didn't want to look up. I observed that. I turned and then I looked at her. I asked her why. She said she didn't want to sing. Before then, they had already called her to come out and do an interview, telling the audience what her experience has been so far since she joined the event. I began to ask myself a question based off of her response that she doesn't like to be seen, she doesn't like to put herself out there. It sparked a thing in me, which brought me to the need to emphasize and highlight this topic, the courage to be seen. It's important that you realize the need to be seen. But before we dive into the part of discussing how to be seen, I think you need to understand that there is something called the fear of visibility. The fear that puts people in the place where they literally don't want to be visible. People have decided within themselves. Some of them never said it with their mouth. Some people never got the opportunity to say, I don't want to be visible, I don't want to be seen, but they already decided in their hearts that they are not going to be seen, which led them to start taking a couple steps that have been very negative in their journey. Now, you could say that most of the reasons why people fear to be seen could be because of judgment, because of criticism, because of failure. They don't want to fail. They don't want people to criticize them and tell them that what they're doing is not nice. Or they don't want people to feel like you are doing so much or you are doing more than yourself. Oh, I don't want people to do this. I don't want people to say this. I don't like to be seen. No. Have you asked yourself this question? Am I comfortable being invisible? Yeah, some people are very comfortable being invisible. And it's all good. We don't all have to be visible, but I see the need for every one of us to be visible, especially if you are in pursuit of personal development, becoming a better version of yourself, leading the people, giving birth to the next generation of individuals, potential leaders who are going to lead the pack. There is absolute need for visibility. You hide your work, you do something you don't want to show it off. I know this because I've been there. I've been in a place of I don't want to show myself. And the reason was super clear for me. I would say I was in a phase of a little bit of withdrawal from what other people were used to, from what other people liked to do. So I don't like to do what other people like to do. I like to share relatable stories because I'm not telling you that this is something that I heard, it's something that I've experienced. It's better to be seen than to not be seen. It's better to be visible than to not be visible. Let's start off from what you think. Why you keep thinking that thing you're thinking? Did you even realize that everyone has what is going on with them? Sometimes we beat ourselves up for nothing. We end up telling ourselves, oh, this person is looking at me, they're going to judge me, my family is going to say this. But in the right senses, these people were so busy doing their own thing, figuring their own life out. They don't even have your time. It occurred to me that people are so busy to the point that even who you believe is looking at you may not really be looking at you. I've been in situations where people are seated, glancing, very heavy glances, and I would walk up and like, hi. Just saying hi, I end up putting them in a state of torture. They're like, oh. Then I realized that many of them are absent-minded. They're a little bit absent from there. So you can see me looking at you, but I'm thinking about different things. And in your mind, you'll be like, oh, what's he thinking? Is he judging me? Is it telling me what's this, what's that? Come on, people are very busy. As much as you believe that they do, they don't have that time. While many people steal doors, it's important to know that everybody is trying to figure life out. Everybody is busy minding their own business. Even the people that you think are not minding their business, they are literally minding their business, but in a different light. Sometimes visibility can feel like a risk. Oh, I'm putting myself on a spotlight. So when I come out, I share my dreams. I don't want bad people to start thinking this. I don't want this. That's a valid point. That's a valid reason. Sometimes it's because of imposter syndrome. You feel like, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, I'm not better. I'm not this. I'm not that. Sometimes you just want to be so perfect. Sometimes I can be a victim of perfection. I want to get everything so right. I want to do everything right. I don't want to fail. Sometimes it's because of rejection. That's why we don't put ourselves out there. We fear rejection. We fear that it's not going to go how we want it to. It's not going to go how we planned it. Thus, let's not give it a try. But I think we need to embrace rejection. It's a stepping stone as opposed to a fall. It means you're taking steps in the right direction. Like I would always tell anyone that knows me, it's possible that you've not done it for a very long time. That's why you've not seen the results that comes from this. It's possible that you missed out most of the ingredients that makes for success, which is why some people would call it failure. When it comes to imposter syndrome, I do my best to let you know that you need to know who you are. I don't stop telling you that. You need to understand who you are, what you are made of, what is possible for you. You hear a lot of people talk about the power in your mouth, the power in your tongue, the power in your mind. I want you to harness these powers. Do we all feel sometimes like we're not where we are? Yeah, I think I watched one of Barack Obama's video telling you don't have to feel like shit when you go into that room full of a lot of elegant people. Super eloquent, very good with their use of words. Don't be a victim of imposter syndrome. Don't go into that room and start telling yourself, oh, I'm not supposed to be here, or I'm not ripe enough to be here. It's not time for me to speak up. Speak up. Raise your hand in that meeting. Make a suggestion. I'm going to tell you something that happened with me many years ago when I transitioned into Web3 technology. It was an environment full of white people, and knowing how I'm Nigerian, and we have a sort of philosophy of slavery from Africa. So I went into this space with this philosophy of slavery. However, it has affected my mind so much that I started feeling like I'm not able to be here. When I finally got here, I noticed that I started telling myself, it's going to take so much time. I started telling myself, let's just figure it out. And I was not the only one. Point of fact, I was not the only one. We were lots of people who felt like we were not deserving of the position we got. But then I began to do something that I've always known how to do, which is to brace myself up, guide up my loins. I started asking questions. Here's the trick I used. I know I was going to ask a dumb question. So anytime I wanted to ask a question in a meeting, sometimes you'll be asking questions and these people, they just like, go ahead and talk without listening to you, nobody giving you attention. It feels sad sometimes. But here's what I did. I would unmute my microphone in that meeting, in that organization. I would say, I have a dumb question I'd like to ask. Everybody will laugh. Who unmutes the microphone and like, sorry, I have a dumb question I want to ask? Can you figure out what this dumb question is? How can I join the next meeting? How can I contribute? How can I be part of this thing? I think what this person suggested is good. Here's what I would like to do. I would like to be a part of this. I started showing up. I started unmuting my microphone. I started adding my voice to that conversation. I started doing most of the things I said I wanted to do. I started taking initiatives. Over the period of time, something happened, something changed. I started feeling among. Now, I spoke up. I asked a dumb question. And they would correct me, no, it's not a dumb question. We like how you omit your microphone and ask questions. We like how you bring us suggestions. We like how you give us feedback of how the meeting went. Let's do this more. So sometimes I would ask questions, and I know that I'm the one that needs the answer to that question. And this is what I used to do, and I still do it till now. I would go ahead and say, I have a question, and I know most of the people in the audience want to ask the same question, but they are not able to unmute their microphone because of one reason or another. So I'm asking this question on the behalf of everybody. And a lot of people would like me, a lot of people would send emojis because I was now speaking up for everybody. It started from speaking up for myself. Over time, I was able to land one of the highest positions in the entire organization, working in that brand. And it's an international global company with lots of contributors and workers from different countries of the world, different continents. So I'm talking about an organization that had over 30,000 contributors. It expanded my knowledge base. I began to learn new things. I began to tap into new possibilities. I began to tell myself I deserve to be here. And then I literally contested for one of the biggest positions of an administration. To my greatest surprise, I got the position. I won the election, and majority of the people that voted for me are the same people I believed were my masters. The same people I walked into the slavery mentality from Africa. They are the same people that called me brother. We're going to support your cause. What am I saying? The fear of visibility is so terrible that imposter syndrome can make you drop what you were able to do. It's so bad that you can go ahead and tell yourself, I am not able. Guess what? Once you say with your mouth that you are not able, your mind confirms it, your body begins to confirm it. We did an episode on PT Podcast and concerning neurosciences and the functions that our brain takes in terms of how we say, how we think, and how we do things. I'd encourage you to go ahead and watch that. We want to be perfect. There's nothing wrong with being perfect. I had to tell myself in 2025 January that I was no longer going to chase perfection. I was going to chase output. How much can I ship? How much can I produce? How much can I do within the short period of time? How much can I do within the shortest period of time? I didn't want to know if it was going to be perfect or not. I didn't want, my care and concern shifted from being perfect to actually getting the work done. Guess what it did to my mind? I began to be more consistent. I began to notice the traction that I was able to generate. I began to notice that I was able to put more out than being perfect. Now, this can be in the context of your work. It can be in context of your craft and your arts. You know how to paint. How many arts have you been able to paint? Did you forget that you need to do something over and over and over and over and over and over and over again before you can see results? Did you forget that? Okay, even if you forgot that, did you forget that you need to start before you can even fail, and you need to fail as fast as you can before you can see results. Did you forget that? All right, maybe I'm being a little bit tricky, but okay, let's do this way. From tomorrow, give yourself this task to chase outcome, output specifically, more than perfection, more than quality. Quality is good. And here's one thing you need to figure out, that if you're a very courageable person, someone that likes to learn, you like to improve yourself daily. This is what we're doing at 1% Better every day. We want you to become 1% better every day. I gave myself the task to learn one thing that is new every single day. And I've been committed to this. I scout for information everywhere. I scout for materials that are going to help me become the better version of myself. I can be a better man. I tell myself every time, I will be a better man. Much, much more better than my fathers were. And we are going to be better people together. So I urge you, listening to me right now, to take this initiative. Determine in your mind that you're going to do more. Start small. You're afraid of speaking up. Don't be like that lady. Go there. Fail. Don't get it correctly. At some point, I started chasing failure more than success. I'm currently doing a case study on people that win and people that lost, people that failed. I want to know what they did so I wouldn't do it. I want to know how they thought so that I wouldn't think that way. I want to know how they do things so that I wouldn't do that thing that way. And then I want to study the people that won, and then I want to emulate most of the things they did. In alignment and partnership with God, we are able to come out great and better. But then there is a resilience that you need to show up. It's not easy. Don't mind how much I'm putting it this way to make it sound super easy. It's not easy to show up. You have to battle with a lot of things. Coach Wisdom let me know. He said, it's easier to not do anything than to do something. It's easier to be wasted than to be good. But then that's where resilience comes in. Your ability to withstand these challenges, because the challenges are going to come. First, you must understand that the challenges are going to come. And then second, you must build the discipline to withstand these challenges. You must set up a routine that helps you set up this challenge. Earlier in my career and journey as a public speaker, I realized when I was quite young that I was going to do a thing or two around speaking. I began to ask dumb questions. I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and start asking as many dumb questions as possible and let them know, hey, I want to ask a dumb question. First thing first, people are going to crack up. What? So let me paint a picture. This is an event of 1,000 people, and after the event, you have one question. Most times, I come into a meeting super late, maybe 10 minutes into the meeting, and I have no idea what was discussed. One of the things I like to do is, at the end of everything, do we have any thoughts, any question from anyone? I go on ahead and raise my hand. And when I do that, here's what I do. I pick up the microphone. I'm so sorry I joined very late. Please, can you do a little bit of rundown? I know we're like a little bit gone past the hour, but if you can do a little bit of recap, what was discussed, I would like to keep myself abreast of the information that were shared here. And anywhere I can be of help and support, please let me know. It wouldn't take them so long. And maybe just to save other people's time, I go ahead and tell you, please point me to the right direction where I can find the resources that were used for this section. It could be in any gathering. Did you know what I was doing? I was building the courage to be seen. I was purposefully doing this thing for a long time, and I'm still doing it. Right now, I don't try to chase it anymore because I've been able to build the momentum. So if you bring me into a room full of 1 million people, I'm going to stand there, I'm going to convert the anxiousness that comes with standing in front of 1 million people to excitement. I've started to learn the mechanics of conversion that would help you perform better. I've started to learn how to be as large as the room and be as small as the room as well. That is our aim in 1% better every day. We want you to be 1% better. These are key points that I think you need to start implementing to be seen. Propose in your heart to be seen. Because when you're seen, you're going to inspire a lot of people. When you take up the initiative and ask a question, you're going to inspire a lot of people. You're going to spark hope in a lot of people, which is the utmost work that we're here to do. Inspire as many people as possible to drive change to our economy and to ourselves and to God's kingdom. Do this. When you are in an event, endeavor to ask a question. When you're asking a question, you are building rapport. They're going to answer you, and you're going to get answers from them as well. They're going to know your face. Especially when you ask a dumb question, everyone is going to remember you. Hey, you're the guy that asked that dumb question. Yeah, I'm the guy that did it. Yeah, you're building social involvement with everyone. As much as you want to be private, I think there is need to be open-minded, to open your arms to a lot of people. We have different missions, visions, purpose, and directions that we're going in life. And I believe this one thing, that if you are able to put yourself out, there is more reward than the decline. There is more incentive in being seen than loss. There is more advantage than disadvantage. Doubt me, look at everyone you know. Imagine Celine Dion never put herself out there as a singer. Imagine LeBron James never put himself out there as a basketballer. Imagine Ronaldo and Messi did not put themselves out there on the pitch as footballers. You're never going to know them. They are never going to be able to inspire and influence the millions of people across the world to play soccer. Celine Dion was never going to inspire the millions of singers and musicians who they have inspired just by showing up. There is need for you to show up. And I don't want to go into the part of you understanding who you are, because we've talked about that in identity. And I expect that by now, you must have known who you are and why you need to be in the scene. Be in the scene. As much as you don't want to do that, please be in the scene. It's going to make the world a better place. We need you. I need you. I don't know how much you can do, but I know that if I need you, then over 1 billion people needs you in the world. We want to have more of you. We want to hear you talk. We want to hear you act. We want to see you paint. We want to see you do the spoken words. We want to see you build the solutions. We want to see you build the next generation technology. Don't be scared to do it. Please go on ahead and do it. You can never be able to build the emotional resilience that needs to be seen except you are aware of who you are. Like I mentioned, identity. You need to be self-aware. You need to embrace the discomfort that comes with growth. I need to understand patience. I told my brothers that we have one problem, just one problem in our world today. We want everything now. We don't want to feel the pain. We don't want to know what long-suffering is. We don't want to experience discomfort. We just want everything to be now. No, we can't have everything now. Give yourself time. Understand the need for patience. And I'm telling myself as well, we need to understand the need for patience. Take your time. Here is an analogy that you need to work with. You don't build a 40-story skyscraper in 2 months. Except you have so much labor involved. But here's the analogy really. Imagine you are building a 40-story skyscraper and someone else is building a 5-story building. The timeline for that same project to be accomplished is not going to be the same. Point of fact is you might still be in the foundation phase of a 40-story skyscraper, and someone who is building a 5-story building would be done with all of the things that needs to be done, and people might even be living inside their apartments while you're still building foundations. But when you eventually take the building up, nobody would be able to see the 5-story in that same neighborhood. All eyes are going to be on the 40-story. Know the height of what you are building. Know the place of your calling and how big it is, and take the time. Here is a final thought. Understand the price that needs to be paid for what you want to do and do it now. Embrace visibility. Please, please, and please embrace visibility. Find the courage to be seen. Stop playing in the lower leagues. You just have to stop that. In this final thought, I want you to embrace these ways of showing up. Please embrace daily exposure. Get yourself together. Start doing that thing every single day. At some point, I was going to run mad. And here is why. I felt like I was not doing it out there. And I figured, I have a big mirror. Why not just stand in front of the mirror and imagine the 1 million people you want to speak to? Get it done. And by the time I was done, I was super happy and excited. I could see the feedback coming from the imaginary crowd was there. I could see them giving me feedbacks. Practice daily exposure. Get your hands on the job every single day. Asks for the ability to contribute. Just ask for something to do. If you don't have something to do, look for a visionary person and get your hands on something to do. But first, you must be self-aware. You must understand who you are. Don't worry about the outcomes. Don't worry about what's going to come of it, how people are going to see it. Like I mentioned, people are super busy. Sometimes they don't even see what you're doing. Sometimes they're seeing what you're doing, but they're so busy to let you know or give you feedbacks. They're like, yeah, I see what you do. Sometimes they don't see it. So quit beating yourself up about what people are going to say. Oh, my quality is not great. My audio is not that great. Get started. Do it, and do it. Show up for as many years as possible. One of the problems we have, like I mentioned earlier, is patience. You need to understand that you need to show up. Do it for the long time. You might not be doing the wrong thing, you just not done it long enough. But how would you know when you've not done it long enough? How do you want to know what's going to be in just 1 month of starting something that you're supposed to do for 30 years and you're getting tired already? You're stalling yourself, you don't want to go forward. It's fine. Here's my last and closing thought. Surround yourself with encouragement, starting from you. What you call yourself is what we are going to call you. So if you encourage yourself, we're going to encourage you. If you fail to encourage yourselves, we're not going to encourage you. Okay, I'm not sure you're going to like that line, but here is the better version. Look for people who might look at you and appreciate you for what you're trying to be. But before you get to look for them, appreciate you for who you're becoming. Clap for yourself. Cheer yourself up. You're doing great. You may not be doing the wrong thing. You've not just done it for the long time. Surround yourself with encouragement. And don't fail to acknowledge God. The first thing you need to do in situations like this is in the beginning, God. Alright, I believe that after all of this talk, you've been able to find some peace inside you and you've been able to make the resolution that you're going to go out there to be seen. I want to see you. You may not know it, but you want to see you. Yeah, I want to do this.